If you have not watched the first episode or have not watched at all the Primal show by Genndy Tartakovsky, then there will be spoilers because in this video we're going to be exploring Fang's point of view from the show Primal on Adult Swim. Where are you going, Mommy? Don't worry about me, my love. I'm just going to get some food. Can we come with you? You're not ready yet. Yeah, but you always say that, and you always said that when we were older than we were before, and you said when we were older we could come with you. You did say that, Mommy. My girl child jumps on top of me and starts gnawing on my neck. I roll over and laugh, pretending as though she had felled me. Yeah, get her, Rady! You shall not go anywhere, I command it. But how will you eat, my lady? I shall make food rain from the sky. That is a nice power to have. That'd be awesome. I tussle with my two young ones, proud of how strong they've become. I stand to my full height, preparing reluctantly to leave. My two babies look up at me. Look at the both of you. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, but you think we're weak. Of course not, Apollo. You're very strong, both of you. I nuzzle them both. They return my affection. But, asks Radiant. She's so inquisitive, always eager to learn, never willing to take no for an answer unless it makes sense. But I'm stronger than you at the moment, and much faster. Out there, we're out in the open, and if something comes after us, you guys won't be able to keep up with me. I need to get food so that you guys can get stronger, so that you guys can protect me. Radiant and Apollo hung their heads in defeat. Look how quickly you guys have grown. You'll be big like me before you know it. And Apollo, I turn to face my son, you'll be even bigger than the both of us, at least initially. Really? Yes, don't believe me? You'll see. How come? Is it 'cause he's a boy? Yes, Radiant, it's because he's a boy. But don't worry, because when you're even bigger, you will pass him in size, and he'll always be quicker and smarter than you. Mommy, that is not nice. Yeah, take that. The two of them begin play fighting, and I take that as my cue to leave quietly before they notice I'm gone. I've taught them well enough to stay where they are, right in the canopy. There have been many red stripes patrolling the area as of late. I've seen the big female, and now that her children are old enough, she takes them with her hunting. They've also expanded their territory. I don't blame her. She needs more food. Right now, herds are migrating. I can't follow them because I have my young ones, so right now, some water food will have to do. I've become pretty good at it. I've been on my own for a while, and after losing my brother, I've become proficient in capturing the water worms. I scoop them up effortlessly. I then begin to head back to meet my children, and I hear something. I snap my head up, the food hanging from my jaws. I see nothing, but I can smell the red stripes. They're nowhere in the vicinity, at least not from what I can tell. Some days the smell even carries, and so it's hard to pinpoint where something's coming from, especially if it's downwind. One thing I know for sure is that I'm downwind of the red stripes. I enter our little cove. Mommy! Look what I got. Aren't I the best? Wow! Was it hard this time? This is a lot. I've never seen you bring this much in one go. Of course it wasn't, because Mommy's the best at catching water worms. Don't worry, I'll teach you guys someday. Why don't you teach us now? You've got to catch actual worms first before you catch water worms, silly. Mommy, I can. I know, Radiant. You're good at everything. No, she's not. You heard what Mommy said. Yeah, but she's only saying that to be nice to you. You really are a loser. Nuh-uh, you're a loser. Guys, take it easy. Over the sound of my children bickering, I hear something. Suddenly, my blood runs cold, and I look behind me and see a strange creature. I've seen creatures like this before. I've seen them hunting animals 3 times their size. I roar at it, more out of fright than anger. I'm scared for my children, but prepared to protect them. Babies, stay behind me. Mommy, what is that? Apollo, just stay behind me. Mommy, I'm scared. You stay away from my children. I growl deeply, waiting for it to attack, wondering if it has others with it. How did I not smell it? Of course, part of the reason I chose this area to hide my babies in was because of the moss and the moisture in here that distorts our smell, so it probably distorts the smell of other things as well. It makes sense. After all, I killed the previous owner because she didn't smell me. The thing refuses to move. Maybe I've successfully intimidated it and I wait for it to leave. At least, I hope it will leave. But things get worse. One of the red stripes enters, clearly having followed this thing. Now I'm terrified for my babies. I can hear them screaming, but all the blood rushes to my ears. I've never felt fear like this before. The very thought of losing them makes me crazy with terror and sadness. I keep my eye on the predator that accosts me. Every footfall is carefully placed. This thing is way too confident for my liking. The red stripe eyes me, and then lunges at me, and I bite it on its neck, pushing it off. Stay away! My voice isn't convincing, and furthermore, I don't think these things can understand me. For some reason, I feel like my babies are going to die. I feel like I'm not going to be able to do anything to protect them because as I look around, I see that 2 more beasts have entered our little cove and are targeting my children. Suddenly, the small 2-legged thing that accosted me before runs past me and starts attacking the red stripes. I'm flabbergasted and confused. Before I can really make sense of what's happening, I look back and see one of the red stripes creeping up behind me, eyeing my children hungrily. I said get away! Mommy, I'm scared! Mommy! It makes me sick that these things are terrifying my children. All the moments that follow happen in slow motion, and all I see is red. I charge at the predator, ready to snap down on my babies, and I grab his mouth, and I tear it from off his face. The stupid creature falls back in shock into the water and lies on his back, half his face missing. Meanwhile, the 2-legged smaller creature that I saw before with the fur on his head is fighting the others. Then he kills them. Or I think he does. I'm not really sure what's happening. When he finishes, he looks at me. Is it over? Yeah, I think so. Mommy, are you okay? Yes, Raiden, I'm fine. Are you okay? Are you guys hurt? We're okay, Mama. Mama, that thing saved us. Suddenly, I watched in horror as my babies ran towards the thing. If he could kill those huge predators, what would he do to them? I held my breath, getting ready to charge, until I see my babies start to nuzzle him, and he just sits there. I don't feel any danger wafting off from him. It doesn't smell as though he's ready to eat them. He just nuzzles them back with his strange forearms. You saved us! Yeah, that was so cool how you just took them down! Can you teach us to do that too? Yeah, wasn't he cool, Mommy? The thing hugs my babies. I honestly don't know what to think, but it's very clear that he means no harm to my children. This is actually a good thing. Because if that thing can kill big predators like that, then I definitely could use the help taking care of my babies. I like your fur. It's so long. I've never seen long fur like this. Why do you only have it growing on one part of your body? Oh, Mommy, can we keep him? I don't know, Radiant. He can be our guard pet, Mama. I'll train him, and then he can teach us to attack big things too. Mama, this is a good deal. You can't pass this up. What, excuse me, are you gonna feed him? Mommy, he just took down those things by himself. He can feed himself. He can actually help feed us. He can help feed you. I know, exactly. Right? I chuckle at my babies, honestly more out of relief that they're okay. That was too close. They came too close to death. I watched at one point as one of the red stripes had its jaws open, ready to kill them. I'm just so glad it's over. But I rejoice too soon, because a much bigger red stripe comes in. She looks at me with vitriol, looking around at her dead offspring. She roars. My heart stops. She aims for my children, and I watch as the weird fur-headed creature kicks them out of the way. She heads straight for me, and I roar intimidatingly, commanding her to leave. Suddenly, I'm flying through the air and land painfully on my back in the water. She'd hit me so hard with her tail. I've never felt such power before. Nothing has ever sent me flying into the air like that. My head is ringing and my back is in pain, but all I can think about is my babies, and I quickly recuperate. When I get back to my feet, the sight before me makes me want to die. My babies are in her mouth. They're struggling and screaming, can't be real. I can't be seeing this right now. It has to be my fears, just manifesting what's not real. They're still alive. I can still save them. I can hear them crying. I can hear them calling out to me. This is real. But before I can even move, she throws them into the air, and that's the last time I see them. The last time I've seen their faces. The last thing I can remember of them is the fear painted on their poor, innocent faces, helpless to protect themselves as this disgusting monster slams her jaws down on them. I watch as their blood leaks from out of her mouth. I know they're gone because I can't hear them anymore. I become unhinged, and I don't even realize that I'm screaming. I can feel blood pooling behind my throat because of how loud I'm roaring. My legs develop a mind of their own as they carry the rest of my body straight towards the monstrous creature. I try to get around her so I can blindside her, but she cuts me off and pins my head to the moist ground. I can feel the pressure building in my skull, partly from the pressure on her feet, partly from my rage and my distress. Why hasn't she killed me yet? She's heavy and powerful enough to easily crush my skull. But when she leans down towards my head, I understand the reason for her toying with me.
I felt them. Warm. Wet. Make them suffer. Way that you made mine suffer.
She cuts off my airway as the pressure from my face starts to close my nostrils.
I make you suffer too. Make you suffer slow.
She leans down, and I can feel her hot breath against my body as she prepares to bite chunks out of me. I welcome it. I dare her. The next thing I know, she's roaring, and her foot quickly releases my head. I jump up, taking a heaping breath, free from her. I see the fur-headed creature fighting her on its own. I didn't even realize it was still here, and the viciousness with which it fights puts me in mind of how I feel. And suddenly, all the rage boils up inside of me, and I charge too. I head for her skull, and then cut around to the left to avoid her jaws, and then I succeed in tearing a huge chunk from out of her flesh. I swallow it quickly as I get pushed off by her mass. I waste no time, and I get up on my feet and avoid her. I know that I can't just attack her blindly. I must avenge my babies, and I have to be alive to do so. I charge for the fur-headed creature. Honestly, I was trying to use it as bait. I knew that the mother red stripe was right behind me, and if I led her to it, well, it would be a distraction. The plan is, while she tore into the fur head, I could attack her from the side. But that's not what happened. As I charged towards the fur head, he jumped onto my head and leapt right into her mouth. Okay, I guess the plan worked regardless. I didn't expect him to do it so willingly. But of course, I should have known. He's still alive, even having been inside her jaws. This thing won't give up. My children, my babies were right. It's amazing. He's amazing. He inspires me to charge after her while he distracts her, and I try to find an opening. But she sees me and snaps in my direction. I try my best to stay out of the red stripe's way. My reflex is sharp as my adrenaline courses through my veins. Suddenly, the fur-headed creature is on top of me. Get off me! What are you doing? There's no time right now, and I realize that he's not hurting me. I can feel his body tense on mine. It's a very strange feeling. I can hear him roaring on top of me, back at the mama red stripe. I think I understand what he wants us to do. The furhead wants us to work together. After all, he is smaller than me, and he can't easily reach that monster without some height, which is what I guess I'm providing. She roars at us, and I dare her to attack.
You die now.
I want to charge at her, but I don't move because I can feel Furhead tensely waiting. His body feels the way mine does when I used to hunt big game, holding it steady and taut. Then I hear it, the audible exhalation of his breath signaling to me that he's ready, I roar with all my might and ferocity and determination, with all the intimidation and power of my ancestors, and I charge straight for the ugly face. I piss her off as I slam my tail into her nose and quickly cut around to get behind her. With the fur head still on my back holding on tight, I charge up on her back. For some reason, the fur head and me fighting together, having the same goal in mind. I feel at one with him, like he's an extension of me. I know I've been calling him a he because I think it's a he. I initially thought it was a female because usually females are larger, but he has a baby-like demeanor, which tells me that he's the weaker one of the species, which means it's a he. I don't know why my thought goes here, but I can imagine what the females must be like. I'm glad there's not any around. We're almost to the head of the creature running up its back, and suddenly, the fur head takes the opportunity to leap off my body far up above so that he could come down with all his might, utilizing his long tooth. There's a sickening crunch and a squish as his long tooth pierces the head of the mama red stripe. I jump off as she goes down and watch as the fur head stands over his kill. After the initial relief of her being dead, I head back to see if my babies are okay, and then I remember. And they're gone. I lie down in their nest, which surprisingly is still warm. I just keep calling their names over and over, hoping that by some power they'll come back to me, that they're still alive. I've had a hard time dealing with accepting the reality of them being gone, of them having been eaten by that crazed, disgusting demon, and then dealing with the hope that they're still alive. Nothing that's sweet and beautiful and innocent can just die and never come back. It just seems so cruel. I lie there until I realize I'm alone. I realize also that there is one thing that I still have, something that can keep me close to them. The fur head. They had wanted him to be a part of our family, for him to be our pet. I owe it to them to keep him around. He's the only other last thing that cared for them, and even though it was just for a short time, I could see that my children would have loved him. I quickly follow him as he walks across the beach through the backside of our cove. I keep saying our, like Radiant and Apollo are still here. He turns around and sees me. Looking at him, all I can see is the memory of my babies pulling at his fur and hugging him in adoration. He reminds me of them. He puts himself in attack stance. He must think I'm trying to hurt him. Wait, please. I know you're just a dumb animal, but I don't want to be alone. I feel like you understand where I'm coming from because you're alone too, which means you've lost your family. The way you fought today, that pain, that ferocity can only come from losing one of your own. I walk closer to him. I don't want to be alone. My babies wanted you to be a part of our family. I sit down in the sand and invite him to crawl atop my back. Feeling him close to my body brought me comfort, and honestly, I know it sounds stupid, but it makes me feel secure. It made me feel close to my babies. I guess he's not that dumb because he understood what I meant, and as he crawled to the top of my back, I let out a cry to tell my babies that wherever they were, I would honor them by keeping the fur head. The waves crash behind us, and I continue walking with him on my back, not knowing what comes next, no longer needing to stay in the cove. There's too much pain, too many memories. It's best for both of us to move on. And that's exactly what we do.